Ladies and gentlemen, myself, Joel Beya here with Stephen Howson and Fabrizio Romano. Welcome back to Gazetta Dello Five. Man, am I saying it right? My Italian is not that great.
Your Italian is improving. Don't worry. It's very, very good. I like
Gazetta Dello Five because you need the
accent. Gazetta Dello Five.
Yes. Gazetta Dello Five. You know, I need to say it. I need that. You know? As you guys can see, Stephen Howson has got some allergies that he's working with, real rough stuff, but he'll be okay. Rio is actually on a show, but he'll be joining us next week. But either way, we know that we've got our people here and we've got the man we can trust. I want to start off with probably the most obvious transfer that's happened this week. Fabrizio, Conte signs for Spurs. Now, you were covering this the whole way through. Can you give us some details in regards to his contract? Because I'm hearing some big numbers.
From what I know, Antonio Conte, for this 7-8 months of the first season as Tottenham new manager and for the second season as Tottenham manager, he will earn around 18-19 million euro net. This will be the salary. It's not surprising to me, to be honest, because his salary with Inter was 12 million euro net per season. So we are on the same figures. We are really close if you think that, of course, with Tottenham, he has part of this season too. But let me say, as a personal opinion, that I hope for Tottenham will be the same. But as Antonio Conte's story showed with Chelsea, with Inter, with Juventus, with the Italian national team, he's worth his money because he's completely changing the mentality into a club. It's for the players, it's for the board, it's for the fans, it's for everyone. So if Antonio Conte will do exactly the same he did with many other clubs in the past, I'm sure that this money is because he's not only a manager, he's many things at the same moment for a club.
So that's real interesting stuff right there. But my question is, right, and I'm not going to pretend to know, but with 19 million euros on his salary, he's obviously bringing in his team, correct? The manager of that stature. He's going to come in. He's going to... That costs Daniel Levy even more money because not only are you covering for him, you're covering for his setup, the way he likes things. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Let me clarify. As I said, it's for the 2 seasons. So this season and next season, it's not 19 per season. So I want to be clear on this. But yes, of course. Because when you go with Antonio Conte, many times I see people around saying, okay, he wants a lot of money to invest, a lot of money to spend on players. It's true, as every manager in the world, he wants money to spend. But it's not just about money. It's about the power he wants in the decisions of the club. This is the key, I think, when we talk about Antonio Conte. It's not only about the money, but about the power to say, I want this player. I want to give you an example of something that happened with Inter, so Tottenham fans will understand about this. For a player that was not for 10 million, 20 million, or 50 million, Olivier Giroud, when he was playing with Chelsea, Antonio Conte wanted him for Inter desperately to be the backup option for Romelu Lukaku, to play some Champions League games, so he was considered perfect for Inter. And Inter board were not convinced because of the age of Giroud. They didn't want to spend money on the salary of Giroud, but was not a special player talking about money to spend with Chelsea because Chelsea were prepared to let him go for 1 or 2 million euro. But Antonio Conte wanted him and he wasn't able to convince Inter to sign him. And this is exactly what Conte doesn't want. He wants to be 100% together with the board. There is Fabio Paratici, the sport director now at Tottenham, that his big friend. And so they will be able to build something together. But it's about the power. He wants to decide for his ideas. And this is how they convinced Antonio Conte, because he was absolutely not convinced to be back working now. But Tottenham have been great with Paratici to change his mind.
Mm-hmm. I think this is really interesting with Conte, because this is where I can see it going wrong for him at Tottenham. Is that I don't see Tottenham bowing down to his demands for the profile of player that he signs. He loves signing players around the age of 30 with 0 resale value, and he gets a lot of those for good value, but there's nothing to come back. And like you said, players of this age profile generally want a higher salary than the young up and coming players that are looking to prove themselves. And for me, Tottenham aren't that club. They're not Inter the way they were splashing cash around lately. They're not Chelsea for sure. This is why I see it can be. This is maybe why they've got an 18-month contract rather than a 3-year contract with him.
Yes, I think your point is good. Sometimes I see that from abroad, people think that Antonio Conte only wants player around 30, 31, 32 to win immediately. It's true that he wants to win immediately. So Antonio Conte is not saying like we're going to win in 3 years. It's not in his style. He wants to win now, as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. He knows that now maybe it's going to be difficult, but as soon as possible. But about young players, for example, with Inter, in his first press conference, Antonio Conte said, I'm not counting on Miranda, Brazilian centre-back, who was the captain of Brazil, important player for Inter for years and years. And I want to go with Bastoni, who was a young boy on loan to Parma, and now is one of the best centre-backs we have in Italy, and not only, with a value around 60 million. So, it has to be a mix. He signed Barella. Antonio Conte wanted Barella desperately from Cagliari, and now he's one of the best midfielders in the world, maybe. So he's also thinking on young players. It's a mix, but I'm sure that he will be, at the beginning of this new chapter, he will be open to decide together with Tottenham board, together with Daniel Levy, with Fabio Paratici, not creating problems. I'm curious to see what is going to happen next summer, because Tottenham project will start next summer with Conte. Now, okay, we try together, but next summer will be Antonio Conte's Tottenham.
They're talking about there's £100 million that he's got for transfers to spend. How true is that? And in today's market, in football market, is that going to be enough to give Tottenham a top 6 finish?
I agree with you on the point that we talk about this budget as something crazy, but sometimes in football it's not so crazy, because if you sign 1 or 2 good players, you are done with this. So, if you also include salaries. But at the moment, from Tottenham, what Fabio Paratici said in public, so they are not talking about this budget yet. They are thinking more to the summer than for January. But I told them in January, I don't know if it will be 100 million euro, to be honest, because from Tottenham they are not confirming. But I told them they want to do something. They want to sign some players like a centre-back and maybe midfielder. They're looking for another striker, because it's only Harry Kane as real striker at Tottenham right now. So to play 3-5-2, they need at least another striker. I will keep an eye, for example, on a player like Dusan Vlahovic, who is doing fantastic with Fiorentina in Italy, and Tottenham have always been following him, as Manchester City and Atletico Madrid too. So it will be an interesting opportunity, because he's not extending the contract with Fiorentina. And trust me, guys, this boy is special. This boy is very special. He's 21, but he's always scoring in different ways. He's a leader. So Fabio Paratici follows Italian football, of course, so it will be interesting for Tottenham, maybe. So this will be how they will do it, but I don't know how much they will spend, to be honest.
One manager that didn't move this week, we saw Emery come out and distance himself with the job at Newcastle. It looks like Eddie Howe sort of took the driving seat there at Newcastle. Do you have any more detail in why you think Emery decided not to go with that role?
Okay, I think it's been a really crazy story, this one of Unai Emery with Newcastle. First of all, because what the president of Newcastle said after the game, that he didn't know about this possibility with Newcastle, is something that I'm told is true. So the story was on the press with David Ornstein, I think, on The Athletic, before Villarreal knew about this story, So they were completely surprised when they heard of this story. And so the president was angry with what he said. Unai was negotiating with Newcastle. It was more than close, because on a verbal basis, they were talking, they were discussing on a contract with the staff. And so you see also Unai going to speak after the game, and he was not denying. He was saying, we'll see what happens. I'm now focused here. If you want to deny, it's super easy. No, you go there and say, no, I'm staying. It's 2 seconds. He didn't do that, because he knows that he knew that Newcastle were really serious with him. Then in the morning, he had a meeting with the president. Villarreal won in Champions League, so their position in Champions League is very good. Players were hoping for Unai to stay because the connection is very good. The president was trying to change his mind about the project. They spent a lot of money on players, also in a difficult financial moment like this. They signed Danjuma, who is doing great. They're signing players and showing they have a long-term project. And so Unai changed his mind, and to respect Villarreal, decided to stay. For sure, for Newcastle, is not an easy situation.
So do you think it's going to be Eddie Howe that actually takes this role?
I'm not 100% sure yet. Of course, he's a candidate, but I will keep an eye again on Paulo Fonseca, because he was one step away from getting this job. One step away. It was 2 weeks ago. It was everything agreed on a verbal basis. Then Newcastle were taking some time, trying with Erik ten Hag from Ajax, but as we said here, it was impossible, close to be impossible, because ten Hag wants to continue this chapter with Ajax and maybe next summer change. And then also with Unai Emery was the same. So Fonseca was waiting, and let's see if now they will be back with him, or they will decide to go for Eddie Howe. But for sure, it's a super complicated situation, because it's like 20 days looking for a manager.
For my last question on the Newcastle bit, because it's very interesting to me. Why are they struggling so hard to pinpoint someone? I think players are going to be easy, but why are they struggling so hard with the managers?
I think it's not easy to decide who is the right man at this point. And also on the manager's side, if you think now we are going to face the possibility of a relegation because the situation is really dangerous. So let's see what happens on January, the transfer market, of course. So I don't see Newcastle to be relegated, to be honest. But at the moment, the table is worrying for Newcastle. And what the manager think is maybe I go there, I help them now, and in 1 year I'm fired to go with a bigger name. And so they think, okay, I have my job, for example, at Villarreal, like Unai, I'm happy here, I am doing my process, maybe in 1 year I will be to another top club in Spain, but if I go to Newcastle, I do my job and then they fire me because they want another one, it's not super easy to understand about this point. And also for Newcastle, these managers know that they're trying for top names, like Ten Hag, as I mentioned, and like Antonio Conte was their dream, but was impossible to do it. So it's not easy to say yes now, because you feel maybe it's not going to be long-term, and this is a problem. But I'm sure that Newcastle in a few days will resolve this story.
Eddie Howe's going to be interesting if he goes there. Someone who's just been relegated from the Premier League, trying to stop a team getting relegated from the Premier League. Yeah, after all of the names that they thought they were getting, they end up with a guy that just got relegated.
Okay, real quickly. So we spoke about the Conte situation. I wanted to talk straight about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer afterwards because I think it's interesting. I've seen the memes this week. Fabrizio, I know you've seen them calling Ole a genius because of because Conte, he beats Tottenham. Conte gets hired over there. He protects his job. What does it mean for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because he drew the game against Atlanta, which was, thank God it happened the way it did because it kept the team secure. Shout out to Ronaldo, I'm sure Steve's saying. Obviously, they beat Spurs. They've got City this week. What happens even if he loses? Because last week, I thought if he loses that, he's out. But who's going to take over?
This point is a very good point because for Manchester United, when more than a week ago, they were thinking about whether sacking Solskjaer or not. The point was exactly this one. They want a manager with a different style. Also, Antonio Conte was prepared to accept. Antonio Conte wanted Manchester United work and job, but from Manchester United, he didn't receive a call. So it was not a negotiation between Conte and Man United. It was Conte open to join United, but was not United calling Conte.
Yeah, sure, Joel.
I think it's not easy because about managers available now, it's not easy for Man United to pick the right one because Zidane at the moment is super relaxed, thinking of his stuff. He's not like desperate to come working immediately. So they were not convinced about the situation of we changed to have a manager we are not convinced of. So this is why I think also if Ole lose with Manchester City, they will need some time to decide. It's not going to be like 2 hours and then he's fired and we have another one. They are not talking with any other manager now. They're not. I'm 100% sure of this.
Yeah, of course they're not. And I still don't understand why. I don't think Conte suits the style of play at Man United too much, but I do know that he's got a winning mentality. So it's strange to me why they didn't invest in him at all.
To be honest, I 100% agree with you. Sometimes I see he's underrated.
You've got to pick the right tool for the right job. And I don't think Conte is the right tool for the Manchester United job. And United have decided that we're going down a path of restructuring and rebuilding at the moment. And for me, my opinion is, and I could be wrong, but Conte rips that up and you've just hired an incarnation of Jose Mourinho for that, which was a road that we've tried to go down to try and achieve short-term success without realizing that there's so much structure at the club that has to be changed and fixed and amended. And if we went down the Conte route after doing this with Solskjaer, that to me just proves that this board and the ownership don't have a clue what it's doing. Now, I do think United should be talking to managers. I do think that United should have a shortlist that has been interviewed, that has given presentations, that we are aware of what they would do if they were given the opportunity to the job. And then if it does come to the point where they go, do you know what, Ole, thank you, but no thank you, we're going to look in a different direction, the transition process is very easy. Now, you might have 4 managers on your shortlist. 2 of them might be in jobs because they're not going to sit around and wait forever. But if you keep your shortlist fluid and you're constantly in communication with them, I think managers would happily work with you on that.
But who's on their shortlist then, Steve?
Well, there's no one on a shortlist. I don't even think we've got a list.
It can't be a club like Manchester United, and you're telling me that if the board go for Conte, they're wrong.
I think they have, but it's with managers that are already working with other clubs, like Ten Hag, like Pochettino, like Brendan Rodgers. They're already working with other clubs, and so it's not easy. In November, I know you're
Brendan Rodgers can't be true. I've heard that a couple of times, but there's no way the Man United board will consider someone who used to manage Liverpool. I'm sorry.
If Brendan Rodgers is on the list, then Paul Scholes should be on the list.
No, but these managers are working with other clubs. Also, Ten Hag. I see my United fans also always saying about Ten Hag, asking me, Fabrizio, there is a possibility for Ten Hag. He's working with Ajax. It's also a matter of respect sometimes for this kind of. It's about the person, not just the manager, because it's a strong relationship with Overmars. So it's not easy to change their mind. Then you are Man United and you can do it, but it's not easy. And to be honest, I think Antonio Conte is super underrated sometimes. This is my feeling, but not just because I'm Italian, but because I know what he did with Inter also, with Juventus, with Chelsea, but with Inter was very special, very special. Inter were 30 points behind Juventus every single season for 8 years, and in 2 years they won the league. The first season was 1 point behind, and then they won the league.
And doing what he did with Ashley Young, these are players that were finished. But he's able to rejuvenate them, and it's very clear who he is. I don't know. I'm very interested to analyze the Man United situation. Staying on that topic, again, Paul Pogba. I'm hearing this week that he's open to signing a new contract because of the signing of the new players, despite him not getting the minutes that he wants. Fabrizio, I'm going to keep asking you every week, where are we with this situation?
We're still in the same situation. I see the rumors around, and 1 week seems impossible, and the following week seems okay, we can do it. But from what I'm told, we're still on the same point. The contract proposal is on the table since July from Man United. It's exactly the same. So what they're offering is an important contract from Man United. So Paul knows about it. His agent, Mino Raiola, knows about it. But at the moment, there is still no decision. And so it's going to take long. Trust me. It's not going to be a matter of days or a matter of weeks. It's going to take long because it's not linked to Solskjaer, to players. Paul, from what I'm told, also if it's a complicated moment, he's enjoying Manchester United life now. I talk about the dressing room, the relationship with his teammates, the club atmosphere. Okay, it's not the best moment, but in general, also this summer, he was happy with Man United signing important players, showing ambition in what they did. So it's not about this. He wants to see what is going to happen next, where we will be maybe in February, in March, in April, when the season will have a face for Man United, like saying, okay, this is our state now and what we're going to do for the future. But deciding now is not making any sense in his point of view and on Raiola's point of view, because Raiola is always working like this. So maybe you have other players that are prepared to sign because, okay, I'm happy, I go and sign. And you have other players that prefer to wait. Close to Mino Raiola many times is happening. So I see Pogba waiting and waiting again and to see when is the right moment and decide. So this is why it's only up to Pogba. It's not about players, Solskjaer, these kind of things. When he will decide, he will communicate to Man United.
I got one more on United actually. Funnily enough, Dalot. I'm hearing that his future will obviously determine whether United still go for Trippier or not. I personally think he's a good player, to be honest with you, and I'm surprised that he's not used a little bit more than Wan-Bissaka, even though I think Wan-Bissaka is good, but I thought there would be more competition in that position,
100% on your point. In Italy, he was great with AC Milan. He was great, and he was arriving from another country. He was completely different, and he did a very good season, playing as right back, left back, always available for the team. Then they wanted to keep Dalot this summer because Borussia Dortmund wanted him, AC Milan wanted him, Sevilla wanted him, Everton wanted him. Many clubs were asking for a loan with buy option, with potential obligation. And they said, no, we want to keep the player here. We want to trust Diogo. Not like Van de Beek story, but similar, Of course, it's not on the same level of problem, but it's something similar. Because why then you're not playing him, for example, with Atalanta? He knows the league. He knows how it works with Atalanta, how they play. And he was not playing. So he was surprised too. But let's see what happens in the coming months. But yes, Trippier has always been in Manchester United list. Atletico Madrid know about it. They were seriously thinking of Trippier. Then they made a proposal. It was not an official proposal, but it was a proposal in June. In the second week of June, around 16 million euros, 17. And Atletico Madrid asked for 40. So imagine how crazy was this. It wasn't even a negotiation. It was just a talk between the two clubs. So let's see if maybe next summer the price will be different, or maybe I think in January it's going to be complicated because Atletico Madrid are not kind of club selling important players in January. But he's always a player that has been in Man United list, and so it could be a possibility if Dalot leaves.
Steve, why was you making that face in the beginning? Because even though Romano's been talking for like a minute and whatever, your face pisses me off. What was it about when I was mentioning Dalot?
I can tell you've not watched him enough. I agree with Fabrizio. I thought he did well in Italy, but in a United shirt, he's not delivered. He gets absolutely torn to pieces defensively. He's got a good cross on him. Outside of that, he's not a Manchester United level player.
Well, he went away. He had better performances. Surely, when you come back, you give him an opportunity to prove this, right? Or more opportunities, shall I say?
He has played since he's been back, I think.
But you can't.
I'm sure of one thing. If Antonio Conte was going to be Manchester United manager, Dalot was starter 30 games. 100%. Was player for Conte. Run, serious, professional, always focus it. This is what it depends on the manager also, you know. Also the skills. Maybe he's not the best right back in the world, but you have managers that like to have players focus it, trusting on loving football. I'm told that he really loves football. For example, his football life 24 hours per day. This kind of things is something really appreciated sometimes by managers, but it depends.
One last topic I wanted to look at. Sorry for interrupting you, Fabrizio. It's Raheem Sterling. It's a funny one because despite this, my thing, Jack Grealish, £100 million, really good player, top quality player. Does he give you more than what Raheem Sterling gives you more for Man City? Forget the price tag. Let's look at what they actually do. Obviously, as a squad, they're stronger because you've got Grealish and Sterling. Of course. But when you've got a player that's probably been their best player outside of Kevin De Bruyne, in the last 3 or 4 years, it makes me wonder if there's a personal fallout there more than a playing fallout. You know what I mean?
Yes. Your point is very good, I think. I also think sometimes that Raheem Sterling is really underrated and maybe he deserves to have a different feeling around in the club and with the manager. But I also think that from my small experience, sometimes football is also about the motivation you have. And so I see Sterling speaking about going to play abroad, thinking of some possibilities with other clubs. As we said here, Barcelona wanted him last summer, then it was impossible because of the financial situation. But they were keeping tabs on the situation of Sterling. So, I have the feeling that also for him, it's like a moment. There is a moment where for the club and for the player, you need to try something new. And so this is why I think I'm 100% sure that Manchester City were prepared to sell Sterling this summer if they received an important proposal, because they were trying also to discuss about Sterling with Juventus in Cristiano Ronaldo negotiations, but then it was not possible. Now the situation seems different because Sterling is showing again how important he is for Man City when he's playing. But, I think before next summer, we'll have to make a decision, as we said, because it's out of contract in 2023. And so extend the contract or go. This is the way.
I'd never rated the guy, to be honest. So.
Oh, you know what? You did. You see you.
What? I don't rate the guy.
Take off your Manchester United glasses sometimes. Put them on the side.
All right, I'll put England glasses on. I don't rate the guy.
Yeah, but listen, he still does bits for England, those things.
Yeah, but it's international football, and international football's garbage.
Fabrizio, this is what I have to deal with every week. Anyway,
I like it.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Please,
quick one before we go. Is David Moyes getting some cash at West Ham, yes or no?
I hope for him, but of course they want to do something. I don't know how much, but they want to do something for him. He deserves.
Yeah, definitely. He deserves. Hopefully he doesn't mess up the balance of the team because I like the way they're playing. But for sure. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. Fabrizio, thank you for your time again and dealing with myself and Steve. And we look forward to seeing you next week with Rio. And you guys watching the show, please make sure you stay tuned because we've got some big videos coming out this weekend. So get those notifications on. The Matchday 360 is coming out. We've got a special video coming out on Tuesday. I can't say anything more. And we've also got another exclusive Vibe with Five interview happening. Next week, it's about to go off. So stay tuned. Joel Beya, Fabrizio Howson, we're out. Peace.